Good morning, genealogy friends. Happy Monday. As you can hear, my voice is back, which is exciting because I want to talk to you guys. I've got new pages today, and I have something that I wanted to show you that hopefully will make putting your notebooks together a little bit easier. Let me flip this around. Hello. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I rested for a whole lot of the weekend, and I feel really good. So I feel very lucky to have a spouse that can totally keep the ship afloat when I am just taking it easy. I did get new pages up because it's Monday. If you've missed it before, the new plan is that I put new pages out on Mondays so that people know to expect them. I have a lot of new pages waiting to come out. I have a lot of page requests that have come in for pages that I'm going to work on soon. And some pages that I had created for myself, I'm just now starting to share with everybody. So I don't know how many. I've got quite a list today. I am going to be sending out an email with links to these new pages, but you can also find them on Etsy or on Family Tree Notebooks. If you, on Family Tree Notebooks, you need to actually go into shop, and there's a link right at the top of the page that says shop single pages and small bundles. If you click on that and then arrange everything from new to old, you'll see the newest pages because these are all single pages or small bundles. Oh, hello, Jane. Oh, apparently it's hot in England. You know, not to digress too much, but I always thought that England was rainy and cold pretty much all the time. And the second summer that I lived there, it was blazing hot and nobody had air conditioning because it was supposed to be cold and rainy all the time. And yeah, ain't no heat like a English heat with no air conditioning. All right, new pages for Monday. Cowboy. Some of these I know that not everybody will use. Again, this only underlines my whole thing about how you don't need all the pages. I have cowboys in my family tree. Maybe you don't have cowboys. Crochet, DAR application, that's Daughters of the American Revolution. So the DAR application page is out today. Sons of the American Revolution is coming, but I didn't publish it today. And I still haven't done my DAR application, so if anybody wants to nudge me, nudge away. Debutante, Dust Bowl. Dust Bowl is it's a natural phenomenon that happened about 100 years ago here in America that affected a lot of families, including my own. Emigration, different than immigration. Emigration, that's leaving a country. Immigration is going into a country. Emigration with an E. Evacuation. Family name. Now you could use family name. Family name is it's a blank page that says family name on the side. You could use it for surname. You could use it for different things. I am using it for names that were passed down. So, Margaret's, that every generation has a Margaret, or somebody who was named after their grandmother, things like that. Family name. Fundraiser, Gazette, and so it's Gazette and Gazetteer, right? Those are two different, sorry, somebody just pulled into our driveway, but they're turning around. It's one of those things where you're like, I don't know you, car. Why are you in my driveway? Sorry. So Gazette and Gazetteer, which are, if you're not familiar, they're like little periodicals. They're kind of like newspapers. Sometimes Gazetteers can be actually more officially bound like books. They can be often good sources of family information, but they're very small publications. Journal, which could be an official, publication, the Journal of New England Medicine, or somebody's personal journal. Knitting. Military registration, catch-all page for, any registration papers that I don't already have a thing for. I have had a request for a Vietnam draft card. That is on the to-do list. So is there's a Canadian registration card that I know is on my to-do list. I can't remember what it's called. But if you have other ones, go ahead and request them. And then Mum Story, not Mom Story, MUM, for countries where mum is more common and comfortable than mom. And the Mum Story it's still $2, but it actually has 4 digital pages in all the colors instead of 2, because you get Mum Story lined and unlined in the left hand and right hand. So Mum Story. And Mum's recipe and photos with Mum are coming, but I haven't published them yet. So anyway, those are the new pages for today. Again, I'll be sending out an email blast to people on my email list with those direct links and a couple of other things. Okay, so what did I want to talk about today? I wanted to talk about different ways to use photos in your book. It's just sort of a show and tell, but sometimes I feel like it helps people to see the different things other people are doing with their notebooks. And I wanted to do this. There was a question about census information over the weekend, and this has actually been a topic that I've been thinking that I wanted to do a video on for a while. But there was I got the impression that some people were putting in just the image of the census, some people were using the worksheets alone. Not everybody was using both. So personally, I transcribe all of the information from censuses, and I put an image of the census, and I put an enlarged image of the census area. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is a sample book. This is not one of my family books. But we've got this census worksheet where I've transcribed the information. And then the following page, I do have census pages that have the name of the census. Personally, I just use blank pages. That has a lot to do with the fact that I created the census page with the title down the side after I did a lot of my samples in family history. But you can see that I've included this census image, but then I've also included an enlargement. Now, the way that I get these images is I just take screenshots on my iPad using the Ancestry app. But this is how I would use photos. Now, in order to be able to use these pages, you need to have a PDF program that can add text and photos. I shouldn't say that. You can print the pages out and do it by hand. It's just, I do think it's harder. Personally, I use GoodNotes 5. I've also used Adobe Acrobat. I need to do other tutorials for other programs. People have been using Foxit Reader. That one comes up a lot. I've never tried it out, but I know people are happy with it. Anyway, assuming though that you can just add photos, all of the things that I'm going to show you today are just different ways of adding photos. So this is just, I added this photo, and then I added, this enlarged crop of this same photo. Here on this Ancestor profile page, you're going to see that there are actually photo boxes with the photo date. I was thinking about it, and I feel like I don't even sell this page anymore. If you wanted it, if you owned the Ancestor profile page, but you wanted this one with the photo boxes, I could get it to you. But a lot of people did not enjoy having to put their photos inside these photo boxes. However, if you ordered the pages a long time ago, you might have a copy that looks like this. And you can see I just tried to fit the photos inside the box so that they matched up with this little photo date area, but most of you are probably going to be more familiar with pages that look like this, that just have the large open area for photos. And I get that. It gives you more creative freedom, and I do think that the effect is a little bit cleaner if you go back and forth. Here it is noticeable that this photo completely fills the frame and this one doesn't. This is me manually trying to put it in, so I've got more of an edge here. Anyway, I can see why this is the more popular choice, but you might have one or the other depending on when you bought the pages. Some of the pages have photo boxes sort of on purpose. Again, I can't remember if I've actually taken the photo boxes off. I think every time I publish a page that has photo boxes, I get requests for me to remove them. But here in adoption records, I felt like it made sense to have a photo of the child, but then also of the parent. In this case, it's just the father, but and then on occupation records, on the pages that have these checklists, you do still have photo boxes. If this photo wasn't here, it would say, occupation photo or something like that. This is a photo that matches her occupation. And then I have followed this page with just a blank page using loose photos. Versus, I know there are people that put photos down here and shrink them. I think that it makes more sense to just, if you have quite a few, to just add another page. This is not designed to hold a lot of photos, this little area. You could, obviously, this is all personal preference, but I wouldn't want you to feel like you were limited. I think that it makes sense to just have a follow-up page. Here we've got a blank page that could be used for lots of different things. This could be used for notes. It could be used for one full sheet. And here I've included a combination. This is a scan of a letter that was written while he was in the American Red Cross hospital, a photo from his time in the hospital, and then this is his hospital pass. So, all of this stuff goes together, and this is in person, this is legible, but it's a little bit tough. Now, if I wanted to, I could blow this up and just have the whole letter here that goes with the World War I thing. I could also use the letter transcription page, but this is sort of showing how you can make a collage where, this is really just like a photo album where you're just sticking in photos that have to do with each other, but it's not necessarily telling any kind of different cohesive story. And then this is different elements that go together to sort of tell a story on one page. Here we've got one of the photo grid pages that have the boxes and are designed to look like this. I really enjoy these pages. On some level, though, they are just kind of for fun. You can't put in a lot of information here. I don't actually, on the female ancestors page, I don't even have space for names. So this really is just in somebody's chapter, you'd have, their photo and then their female ancestors going up. You also are unlikely to fill in the whole thing unless you're very lucky. It's more likely to look like this. This is another one of the photo grid pages. In this page, there is room for information. For me, I usually do the full name and the birth year. But in this family, Hattie Joan died when she was little, and I have not been able to identify a photo of her yet. This wasn't one of the families that was affected by the Dust Bowl, and they moved around quite a bit and didn't have a lot. So here we've got this blank space where I've got information, but I don't have the photo. And it's fine, I just leave it blank. But if you were really worried about not being able to fill in everything, most of the pages are designed to just be blank if they need to be. Okay, here we've got a family recipe page where I'm actually using a photo as the information rather than transcribing it, because I think part of the charm are the notes in the corners and the grease spots and the fold lines and things like that. So it would be, I could transcribe the family recipe and then have this on a separate page, but I actually think that there's a lot of charm in just showing the actual image. These are other pages where the image of the document versus the transcription is more charming. This is the same document. This is the outside of it and the inside of it. Now I would have a marriage page preceding this with the information, and then this marriage records page with the image. I wouldn't just have this, but you could if you felt like this was enough. I mean, this is very legible. It's very easy to understand what you're looking at here if you were to pass this book on to someone else. Here we have another photo grid page where, again, I have the photo boxes. This one's showing generations and then lots of space. Now, it says story. You could have a short story and then crop so that you had a long photo underneath. But again, that's not really what this page is for. This page is really just so that you add the small photos up here, and then this is all text. But it's totally up to you. And I think the last, I just wanted to point out that you can add things to the photos if you want. Now, this is a really simple addition. Here I've got this story that I wrote about my daughter, and then I've got this picture of her. And if you look, I actually just used the pen, on my iPad, and I made photo corners. That's why they look kind of uneven. And that was on purpose. It's just when I added the photo, it seemed like it needed a little something else. I've seen people do beautiful work using digital frames, putting together a photo collage in another program and then importing the whole collage, overlaying photos so that they kind of look like they're stacked together or that they're stacked with flowers and things like that. So this is just to remind you that you don't just have to have, clean, blank photo scans. You can have some artistic license. Now, there are two examples that I wanted to put in here, and then I couldn't find one. Unfortunately, I know that I've made samples, but I could only think of how I've used them in my own family tree. And the examples that I had information about living people. And it's hard because I would love to just show you guys all of my work sometimes, but with genealogy, you have to be very careful about what you're sharing about, if I have a living cousin and it's like, oh yeah, this is their full name, this is where they were born, this is the exact date they were born, this is their parents' names, then I'm just giving out all of the answers to all of the security questions we have to fill in. So what I wanted to share though is I have done pages where I took a big scan of a photo and then I actually wrote on the photo in my program, usually using white ink, and I wrote names on the photo because once they're digital, it's not the same thing as actually getting out a pen and writing on the photo. I'm not hurting the original photo. I'm just editing the the digital image in my book. I do that pretty often. For some reason, I just could not find a sample or something that wasn't living people. But the other thing that I've done pretty often, but again, I've done it with recent group photos, is I have taken a group photo and then traced the edges of people and created a guide so that I could name everybody in the group photo. I have a video about that, and I'll put the link in the comments, because that's actually a really fun trick, especially if you've got group photos and you're not sure who people are, but they're recent enough that you have living like relatives who can tell you who the people are in the photos. That's a really, really handy trick, because again, if you're thinking about not only putting stuff together in your research to make your work easier, but the people that are going to get this book when you gift it to them, or when you, if something happens to you or whatever, having those group photo maps, very, very easy to read. So anyway, that's all I wanted to share. If you have done other things, especially if you added things to your photos, if you've used photos on pages in different ways, leave them in the comments if you want, like, so that we can all see them. It's funny, originally I was thinking, or not that long ago, somebody suggested we do a sharing Saturday. I think I forgot and made it sharing Sunday, and then I haven't done it since, but I love seeing your guys' pages, so I need to remember to do that more often on the weekends. But for today, if you have things that you've done with photos on your pages, share so we can all see them. And enjoy the new pages, and I will be back on Wednesday.